Hey guys, welcome back to my GhostCast. Your host, Therese, our guest, Pauline Escamilla Donate. So this next one, guys, this one, I've heard a story similar to this when I was a kid from my grandfather. Actually, both my grandfathers told a similar story, and I don't know if that was the same episode, but this one to me, I heard Pauline tell this story and I was like, man, this is close to my heart. And also it connects to another friend's story. So I'm pretty excited. Listen to this story, guys. Pauline, please begin.
This was back in 1973. My mother, her name is Margie Escamilla. It was her first semester in college in Austin, Texas at St. Edward's. And right away, her roommate knew that she was a Christian. My mom made sure that they understood she was a Christian. She doesn't go out, and party or anything like that. So the people that were in the dorms near her dorm knew that she was a Christian woman and did not participate in their hanging out and drinking and partying and whatnot. And one night, the campus was having a campus party. It was a dance. And from what hearing of the stories that happened later that night was during this dance, this young, handsome man came into the building. And it was said throughout the girls that were dancing there that he caught a lot of attention, the eyes of a lot of the girls that were there. And a lot of them wanted to dance with him. They said they had never seen him before. So there was no way he was a student. And nobody knew who he was and where he came from. And so eventually, as the night progressed and it got later in the night and the more he danced, the more the girls were really wanting to know more about him. Well, during one of the dances, they began to smell a smell of sulfur. And it started to smell really bad in the building that they were having the campus dance at. And they were trying to figure out where the smell was coming from. And that's as the music is going. And as the music is going, one of the girls that was dancing with this handsome guy that shows up at this dance, who had already been there for a few hours, nobody could figure out who he was and where he came from. All they knew is he was really handsome, very cute, very charismatic, very polite, and just really nice all-around guy. During the smell of the sulfur, the guy who was dancing with the girl, the smell started to come from the center of the dance where this guy was dancing. And so it was said that this girl looked down, and when she looked down, she said that she saw goat legs and hooves at his feet. And she screamed, and she moved back, and other people began to see this guy because, of course, the people moved away and he was in the center. And the smell of sulfur filled more of the air. And people began to notice that his legs were like goat legs and he had hooves for feet. And people went screaming and took off out of the building. And it was said that a lot of these girls from the same dorm of my mother went running to her room and woke her up knocking on the door, Margie, open the door. And they came in, and my mom said that a lot of the girls were crying and begging for her to pray for them. And she was like, what happened? And they retold this story about this handsome guy that showed up at this dance. And all of a sudden, as the night went through, the smell of sulfur, and that he had goat's legs and he had hooves, and everybody took off, and they were just begging for her to pray for them. And so she began to pray for them. And that was that story that my mom told me. And she also gave a testimony to this story as a testimony to a youth service that we had. And that's how I found out about it, because she was sharing the testimony with with the youth. Man, and that's that story.
Man, that's pretty jacked. The stories I've heard are very similar to that. Any other thing that you remember Mom talking about on any of that?
She said a lot of the girls were so scared they did not want to go to any more dances or parties at the rest of that semester. They were traumatized by it because she said a lot of the girls said it smelled like hell in the building. It smelled like hell.
Well, if you've ever been to the junior high boys locker room, there's a smell that never leaves. It smell like hell. I can't go down there sometimes 'cause I don't know if it's one of two reasons. Either, this is what I've been told, is that the place is an old place, right? So that old junior high is a bunker turned into a school, but the boys never take showers, so the drainage is never used, and that's why that smells there. And others are
they're
like
musty.
They
musty.
And they're musty. They are junior high kids, so no saben cómo lavar. They don't clean themselves, wash themselves. I've been down there and kind of almost throwing up, so part of me is like, ew. That smells pretty bad. That's that. Man, if I only remember Grandpa's story, I just remember when I hearing you say it, they were so similar to that. And I've read articles from, in the researching that dance, and it's happened here or there and throughout different states. So I have a friend who's got a similar story, and I'll interview him in a few days. So we'll actually have him up here too. So
can't wait to hear that story.
I know.
Yeah, can't wait to hear it.
And that connects to, believe it or not, it actually connects to an old story called, back where I'm from, in Corpus. There's an area called Goatman's Trail. And it's supposed to be, there's a man who's half human, half goat, walking all these trails out there where I live. So we've heard this part of this episode before, but it's kind of creepy. If you can, go watch season 1 with a episode talking about Josh Renee. He's one of my closest friends. He's like a brother to me. And we kind of lived through these experiences together. So it's one of those where you're, hey man, do you see that? Yeah, man, but no, I didn't see it. Are you going to tell the story later? If we live, I'll tell you the story.
Tell it.
All right, guys. Well, that was the first story. Kind of creepy. I wanted to keep it simple. I appreciate it. I like the way she tells stories. You can tell she's good at telling stories. It's not the, and then...
and then the cucuy.
And el cucuy, and he smells funny. Y luego, tú sabes.
No, we'll jump up in my bathroom.
Yeah, I know, right? They mix of Spanglish. And then I went over there. No, we'll move on to the next story, guys. We'll be right back.